Hello everyone, welcome to Pop Nation and Value Nation, and I'm your host Tarun Mishra. And today we are going to talk about one of the most luxurious made in India hotel chains by JPL Group, i.e. Aalia Collection. To talk more about it, we have the Chief Operating Officer of Aalia Collection, Mr. Kavinder Besoya with us.
Thank you so much, Tarun, for having me.
Alright then, let's begin with the show. So I'll start with the basics. What is Aalia Collection?
Okay, Aalia Collection, we are a very, very young brand actually. We just started actually in April of this year. We have 4 hotels under our portfolio. 3 of our hotels are actually in Uttarakhand, and 1 hotel is actually in north of Goa. Aalia Villas Anjuna at Goa, right? Latest hotel that we just recently started is actually Kenwani House, which is at a place called Narendra Nagar in Rishikesh. There's a bit of history about this product actually. Not a product though, a hotel, a beautiful luxury hotel. It is a 1954 built heritage hotel, belongs to the erstwhile royal family, which is the Shahs.
So basically like the structure was owned by the royal family, you were saying?
Let me just take you back a bit to the history as well here. Now, there is Ananda there, of course, which is another hotel. Shahs, the erstwhile rulers, their palace was Ananda, and their personal home is Kenwani House, actually. Right, 1954 built heritage. So that hotel, of course, is now under us. And then we relaunched this, we renovated it, restored it, very tastefully done, no interior designers and all, the lot of touch from our owners, the MD, the promoters. His name is Mr. Aditya Paul Lakhanpal, and his wife Menaka Kumari Shah actually. She's from the same royal family. So she was personally involved in restoring this lovely heritage property. So this was actually, the royal residence. And as the name suggests, the location, Narendra Nagar. Narendra Nagar is actually named after the erstwhile ruler, Narendra Shah, actually. And the granddaughter, of course, is
so it's like Kumari everything Shah. Is like connected in a word.
Absolutely. So what we're talking about actually, is not just a hotel. You're living a piece of royalty, history, and then this is 2 acres of a private hill. Right, so the royal residence part, of course, is limited to about 6,000 square feet of area, but it has a beautiful setting. And as I said, it is 2 acres of a private hill. The defining feature about this hotel actually is that each and every room, as well as the public area, overlooks the Ganges. So sweeping views of the Ganges actually, the best views, and the royals used to have the best locations, So very, very unique setting, of course. The only change that we could do to this royal residence is that we could add a temperature controlled pool here, which overlooks the Himalayas.
So it's like it's in some specific rooms, or all the rooms have that thing?
All of the rooms in all of the public areas actually, they overlook, especially the main block. So we have another block as well, which is on the opposite side. But the main block, which has got 4 suites, one overlooks the sweeping views of Ganges from here.
Getting it.
And since this is a private hill, moment you get out of this this royal residence and you keep moving up towards the mountains, these views keep getting better actually.
Getting it.
So it's a beautiful setting to have a hotel, and highly experiential. Globally, concepts like these, like if you go to a lake home in Italy and you hire a villa like this, it will start with probably 1,000 euros a night. So concept of luxury globally and in India is completely different. In India, traditionally we always associate luxury with the matchbox structures,
Yeah.
250 rooms, 300 rooms, 400 rooms. Globally, the luxury is actually about staying in concepts like these. Limited inventory. I can have a buyout. I can stay with my family,
Yeah.
or I can stay with a very close knit group of friends together. So
Getting it.
that's what this concept is all about.
Okay, something I noticed was that usually hotel brands have hotel or resort in their name. This was the first one I heard. It was collection. So was
Correct.
there any like thinking behind why we have to keep it as collection and not Alia hotels or resorts?
Absolutely. Actually, there's a we reflected on most of the luxury brands which exist, and then you can name it. I don't want to name the brands though, but most of the great brands, whether they're apparel, jewelry, cars, they're about collections actually.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone have their own signature collections of whatever that they're selling in the market. Our concept was similar. We thought we are getting into luxury boutique segment.
Okay.
Our game is 6 rooms to about 50 odd rooms, small inventory, highly personalized, highly curated experiences. That's what our game is. And we have a collection of 4 hotels at the moment, which we want to keep growing. Now, if you look at our portfolio, we have a hotel in mountains. We have a hotel by the river, which is Ganges, the most sacred river, right? We have a hotel, actually, a camping hotel, which is spread in 50 acres, 11 acres of the covered hotel area, and only 11 luxury tents. That's luxury, of course. So we have a jungle experience, and then the Arabian Sea, which is north of Goa.
The Goa one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the collection that we have at the moment, highly curated experiences. Each of these are very, very distinctive hotels, which are either, about a very, very unique location, or they're about a piece of history like a Kinwani house. So stuff like that. Each of these hotels are very, very different in nature and offerings. And this is how we want to grow in future as well, right? So that's us as an organization.
Getting it.
In
So
a
I'll
nutshell.
now I'll take it to a little bit of the business side. So basically, a few weeks back, the union budget came out, and our finance minister gave a little emphasis on the tourism sector as well. So is that going to affect your company in a positive way, so to speak, in the coming years with the policies that are coming in?
Well, if I have to, we are a very, very young entrant, of course, and when we planned and conceptualized us as a brand, we didn't base it on the factors that we are talking about at the moment. But yes, I'm part of the industry, and what feedback that I get, from the fellow hotelier friends who are at responsible senior positions across the brands, Taj, Oberoi, ITC, others. Right. Overall, I think they are not really happy with what has been offered. Tourism or hospitality, as a segment is highly ignored in India.
Okay.
So I think a lot needs to be done. Whatever has been done, of course, is a very small little effort. But we need to learn from places like Thailand, which is not too far. Their economy, actually, one of the major contributors to their GDP actually is tourism. Right. So and that's a very small example. I mean, if we don't even go that far, even Sri Lanka close by, their what they bring to the table when it comes to tourism and government initiatives and all to support the industries is tremendous, as compared to India, wherein we probably don't even figure in the top 10 priorities of the governments. So there's a lot that can be done, of course. Good initiative, by the finance minister to at least consider, this segment or this industry for that matter. But
So what do you,
it's a long road ahead, I would say.
Like what are you asking for the government to do? Like basically, are you asking for some kind of subsidies for the companies to grow in this sector, or the ease of traveling for people? Like I was looking, and we were also exploring a vacation some few weeks back. So what we noticed was Thailand was cheaper than Goa for us. And so what do you think about it? Like, what are you asking the government? Should they bring in some subsidies for people to travel, like concession on the flights or the concession on the hotel prices or the taxes, reducing the taxes. So what are you basically looking for here?
So I think very, very interesting question here. Multiple things actually. So first of all, incentives for travel. If taxation, of course, is friendly not only for the traveler and for the operators. And then the operators could be hotels, could be transport, or could be the whole gamut of other services that contributes to tourism as a whole. Because ultimately, India is a huge country, right? The domestic tourism potential is unlimited. The kind of taxation that gets collected from this segment itself, by the sheer numbers that we have, even if we start promoting this as a segment, your numbers would only increase, right? So yes, taxation does play a major role. Secondly, at global levels, if you look at India as a brand, a tourism brand, there's very little effort that has been done over past couple of years, and this is especially true post-pandemic. Right? So beautiful campaigns which were run earlier, by the governments are completely non-existent at the moment. So that needs to be revived by the government, which will be a tremendous boost, because at the end of the day, it is not only about the Indian travelers, which is of course a big segment. There's also the global travelers who are looking at India as a destination. And India is the only place actually in the world which has got actually everything to offer. You want adventure, you want sea, you want jungle, you name it and you have it. No other country has those kind of offerings. Most of the countries and they're doing far better than us. Look at Singapore. What is the offering? You go to Middle East, Dubai. What is the offering?
Just the city.
Just the city actually, but great efforts, the campaigns that they run, the offers that they come up with. And these small little things actually can make a lot of difference. When it comes to tourism as a whole for the country, which includes the global traveler, which includes the Indian traveler, both affluent as well as middle class and the lower middle class as well.
So I'll come to a little personal questions to you now. I was looking at your profile and I realized that you belonged to the telecom sector at first.
I started like that, yes.
Yeah. So what made you shift to the tourism industry or the hospitality industry?
Well, to be honest, actually, Mr. Mishra, what happened actually, I started with telecom as a management trainee, highly exciting segment at that time. It was an expensive affair to be affording a phone at that time. I'm talking about 98. When mobile telephony was new to India.
Yeah.
Right. So great exposure, of course. I had great times. We had, the average age in telecom at that time was about 26. So it was nice to work with a young bunch of people. And we had a tie-up with Swiss Telecoms, a lot of trainings and all, culturally, a lot of learnings from that side of the world, which was very new to India again. But I used to notice that sales and marketing actually used to get the most visibility in that setup. And I somewhere felt that, this is where I belong than the customer services part, which was doing at the moment. So I wanted to be either in sales or marketing. Unfortunately, I didn't get that break within the setup. And the first break that I was getting actually outside was in hospitality. And that's how my journey with hospitality and hotels started. And this luxury hoteliering side, especially my first job with luxury brands was actually Leela. And then longest stint was Oberoi Hotels, 14 years. Luxury hospitality actually kind of grew on me. And I realized, and when I compare myself with what I was during telecom, now telecom was a huge setup. We had probably, if we had to combine all the offices together, we had more than 500 people working there. But after a while, you start thinking that you are just an employee number in a big setup. Whereas in hotels, after spending maybe 5-10 years, it's a very close-knit industry, and visibility and what you bring onto the table and the difference that you can make is as tremendous. So for example, my journey during my previous organizations, I could set up, open new hotels. So and in luxury space, so that was tremendous learning for me as a professional.
So what experience are you bringing to Aalia? Because those brands are like established brands, like Oberoi and Taj. They are established brands. They are running since quite few years.
Absolutely.
What are you looking into Aalia collection from the point that this is a new brand this is a new age, because those brands were set up in an age where there were very less competitors.
Absolutely.
Today you have a lot of competitors.
Absolutely.
So what experience are you bringing to Aalia collection? How are you thinking? How are you planning to grow this at a faster pace?
No, so first of all, we need to understand that do we want to grow it at a very fast pace? The answer is no.
Okay.
We don't want to be, in terms of number of hotels, we don't want to be one of the biggest ones or the biggest growing ones.
Okay.
But we want to be the best in the space that we operate in, which is luxury boutique, experiential, right? Unique locations, and offerings which are not limited to the hotel itself. Which is about that complete region. That for example, in Goa, if you're staying with us, actually, we are offering you the cultural side of Goa.
Okay.
You name it. I mean, you want to do hidden gems of Goa, completely unexplored places, we can curate that kind of an experience.
Okay.
You want something which is a very gastronomic kind of an experience, the cuisines side of the Goa, we can create an experience like that.
Okay.
So as a traveler, what we want to give you is a very, very unique offering. You tell us what is your idea of holiday and we'll customize something for you, which goes beyond the offerings of that hotel space itself. So complete 360-degree immersive experience is what our vision is for the brand. And we want to come up with hotels in very, very unique locations like the mix that we have currently. Like Aalia Jungle, which is at Bandarjod, right in between Haridwar, as well as Dehradun by the Rajaji Tiger Reserve. We are the only luxury resort that side. 50 acres. Amongst that, in 11 acres, the resort is made only 11 luxury tents. Now that's luxury, of course. It's a very, very unique offering. It's a very select bunch of people who can come in and do that. It doesn't end there, highly curated experiences. So if you're going to the jungle, we have our own jeeps which can go all the way inside, right? The experience curators there, the guides, right? They are actually from the jungle tribe, which were allocated by the government.
Okay.
We hired them, trained them. And now they are the ones who are creating those experiences. Now imagine who can do a better inspection of a place than the native himself.
Of course, yeah.
So we're going into those small little details.
Getting it. This is very unique because I haven't heard about a customized hospitality experience. So it's something very
highly curated, very, very customized, and that is what is actually going to define young brands like us. Now, a lot of learnings from the previous assignments as well, because you worked with one of the best luxury brands which has a legacy. I've also worked in the outbound space for last couple of years, wherein we're working with some of the finest hotels around the globe, selling at 600-700 euros upwards, going up all the way up to 5,000 euros a night. So, global perspective of luxury and the Indian perspective of luxury, we've learned from both the worlds, and we're trying to imbibe all those best practices and bring it together in a young brand like Aalia Collection. So that's why we also have villas as a great concept, which we plan to grow further. Doesn't mean that we'll only do villas, but yes, villas as a concept globally. All the high-end travelers, the top 2%, 3% of the world, their idea of holiday is that actually.
Yeah,
they don't want to be seen while they're holidaying. Very, very personalized. Private. They want to keep it very private, low-key, quietly come, quietly go, that kind of experience. That's what we want to be known as and known for.
Yeah. So basically, the next thing was that since you have worked in these big hotel chains, right? So is there a difference in the challenges that you face with Aalia Collection and the challenges that you faced with those companies in terms of coordinating guests, or in terms of managing the property? Were there any differences, or it's the same, almost the cusp is the same, or the basis is the same, but a little bit of here and there differences are there?
No, in fact, the landscape has changed completely post-pandemic.
Okay.
Right? One of the key challenges, and that has something to do with how the government handled hospitality as a whole, even the bigger chains, without naming them, how we handled the employees at that time. A lot of, there was, of course, very minimal assistance from the government side. And government, of course, would have their own reasons. We are a large country, with a very, very big population. So to expect a government to support industries is still, It's a very difficult thing to do. But chain wide, of course, especially the bigger ones, they could have done something about how they handled their employees. So what happened after that was that a lot of these young executives or young aspiring hoteliers who wanted to join the industry, they are no more keen. So there's a dearth of good quality manpower right now. One of the reasons of taking up an assignment like this is that I would rather, since we are small inventory, highly experiential products, 6 rooms to 50 rooms, it's easier to hire people in smaller numbers, skilled executives in smaller numbers, because you can afford to pay them a bit higher than what the market offers.
Exactly.
And then ensure that they are taken well care of, good care is taken for these employees in terms of trainings, in terms of developments, in terms of their short-term plans, future plans, and all those things. That's when you can create a very, very defining, very, very different brand. Because at the end of the day, hotels are not only about brick and mortar. It is the people who make all the difference, and somebody who's serving you. At the lowest end of this spectrum is bringing you the coffee is the one who's delighting you as a guest.
Exactly.
Right.
Getting it.
So manpower, of course, is one of the critical factors, and it is not only for us actually. It's easier for us to retain because we're smaller, we are light-footed, so we can customize ourselves.
Exactly.
We can our ability, to do better than the rest, of course, is as far superior. Imagine a bigger chain, if they have to do this, their payroll cost will go through the roof.
Exactly.
So that's where we have an edge, and that's what the challenge is as well, actually, for the industry. So how to have a steady supply of skilled manpower.
Getting it. There was one more thing that I noticed in your profile was that you were one of the part of the core teams in the Trident, Gurgaon. And during your time, it received the Asia's leading luxury hotel award as well.
Sure.
So what different did you do over there that it received such a big award? Something, I mean, there must be something that that was totally different in that hotel that got it that award. So,
as I just mentioned to you right now as well, it is people at the lowest end of the spectrum which delight the guests.
yes.
Right, and then of course keep going higher up. So your leadership, of course, your core team and the leadership, the top man, and the kind of you're as good as your lowest denominator, especially in hospitality. So I think overall we had a winning team. So my previous bosses as well. I happened to work with some of the legendary names of the industry, and my GM at that time was one of the youngest GMs. His name is Kapil Chopra.
Okay.
Who is the founder of Easy Diner as well as Postcard Hotels.
Okay.
So he was one of the young GMs at Oberoi Hotels, and Trident Gurgaon was one of the initial few assignments.
Yeah.
So he ensured, of course, and we of course kind of followed. You always followed the vision of the leader at that time. So he ensured that we had some of the best names in different departments. Whether it was kitchen, whether it was F&B, whether it was housekeeping, whether it was sales and marketing, PR, anything that defines a new hotel. So, of course, as I said, the teams, timing as well, because we were the only 5-star luxury hotel at that time when we opened. In 2004 is when Trident Gurgaon opened.
So in Gurgaon, basically, it was the first one, or
in Gurgaon, you only had a Bristol at that time, which was a so-called 5-star, of course. So people had no choice but to go to a Bristol or to go to the Grand in Vasant Kunj, which was about 35-40 minutes drive from here. And that's what most of the senior executives, if they're coming to Gurgaon, they used to do. And at that time, there were very limited corporates. So you had Gateway Tower, which is that ship building which was there. So there were a few corporates which were existing even at that time. Some of the big names, right from a Coke to a Pepsi to there were a few other big names, of course. So Gurgaon as a place was coming up. Infrastructure at that time was non-existent. But by the time, a couple of years down the line, most of the big MNCs which wanted to set up shop in India was there.
Gurgaon.
So you had a great, and this Trident actually also as a product. Now, this is unlike a Trident. Now, Tridents were supposed to be basic five-star hotels, limited service hotels. That was the concept. But if you go to this hotel, actually, it is more like an Oberoi brand. But since this was the first managed hotel after a while for Oberoi hotels, so they played safe. Plus, coupled with the fact that Gurgaon was still an upcoming location, so they played safe and named it a Trident.
Okay.
Right, but it was, it's a beautiful one. It is a resort in a city, actually.
Okay.
Very tastefully done, beautiful one, stunning concept, which caught on the imagination of all the travelers who were coming with very limited expectations, and they were getting blown away.
A lot
Wow.
of business people might be coming. during
Absolutely.
that.
I mean, it was the landscape essentially during that time was business travelers. And then, in fact, I was the person who was given in charge to get the global leisure travelers,
Okay.
especially people who would transit. So they'll get into Delhi, they'll transit to an Agra, Jaipur, Udaipur, or whatever.
So they'll stay here
So they'll
first
stay there for a night and then go that side. And if they want to stay, do the sightseeing and all, they'll stay at an Oberoi, Delhi, those times for 3-4 nights. So that was the landscape. I think good location, great product, great teams. So overall, I think it was a great mix. Plus, I think we took a lot of pride in what we wanted to achieve. We never let the Trident brand, be a laggard in our approach. We always operated this as a top luxury hotel. So that helped, and so much so that we achieved the highest average rates in the country during those times, beating the likes of Leela in Bangalore and Imperial in Delhi, which were the highest average rate hotels.
Yeah, because even I went back in my memories because I have seen Gurgaon getting developed. Like when the first two malls were opening, I was there. The DLF, I think it was DT Mall and
DT, yes.
DT Mall and NGF Metropolitan Mall was the
That's
first
true,
one. So
that's
yeah,
true.
yeah, I remember those days.
Those were the two landmarks, and then Sahara opened after
Then
that.
the entire road had malls.
That
on
mall
one
mile
side. Yeah.
that you call it.
Sahara Mall was also there. Everybody used to
Yes.
flock over there during the weekends.
Correct.
Yeah. So next, I will talk about, like you were talking about employees, right? Now we are seeing a new trend in the corporate, and that's the artificial intelligence, and it's coming in, and it's coming in fast. Are you seeing any trend that's coming with the artificial intelligence into hospitality? In some way or the other around, like, are they trying to mix it up? For example, I was thinking about this thing that, like the people who are on the reception, right? We have one person standing over there who is doing the transits. Now we are seeing these big boards coming up where you just have to put in the number yourself and the tickets are coming out on the airports.
Absolutely.
So are you planning or are you looking at that kind of a trend coming into hospitality also, or in some hotel or the bigger hotel chains right now?
See, one has to adapt with the times, of course. So a lot of these young travelers who are coming onto the scene, they are very, very tech savvy, right?
Yeah.
So let's look at the landscape. There's of course
Because the Gen Z is now much more involved.
absolutely. So that is a reality that one needs to adapt to. So your web check-ins and all, which is a reality now for airlines, which one could not think of probably 10-15 years ago,
Exactly.
is a reality now, right? That's how things have changed. Now there's seamless entry to the airports as well through those specialized apps and all. When your information is as pre-fed in, your checks, security checks are already done from there. So you have a seamless entry inside. I think all of these things will become a reality, especially for a young country like India, where there's a lot of young travelers who are coming onto the scene. Each year, there are fresh supply of graduates who come to the corporate scene, and they are very comfortable by nobody welcoming them at the check-in desk. So when it comes to probably your mid-market concepts, I think it is a huge blessing because they can save. And then the expectation is like that as well. That all I need is a nice room, neat and clean, nicely serviced. I have one restaurant. I have basic services available. I am good with life. So I think from that perspective, it is a blessing. Also, if we go the global route actually, and you go to places like Japan, wherein manpower is not easy, or manpower is actually on the other side of 60s.
Yeah, exactly.
Majority of them. Or you go to Europe, wherein again, you have similar challenges, may not be age related, but
they're getting there.
So that is a reality there. Even if you go to, let's say, you go to a Bellagio in Vegas, which is a 5,000 plus rooms hotel actually. imagine being in a queue in a luxury concept for 2 hours to get your key, and then carrying your two big pieces of a suitcase all the way to your room.
Okay. Yeah.
So this can be easily replaced now, and nobody will complain in a concept like this. In Japan and all, this is already happening,
Yeah.
even in luxury concepts, because you understand that there's nobody there actually, and this is the landscape that one needs to deal with. India is a very different scenario for now, but as I said, it is changing. Younger executives, the young generations joining in, are very okay with that kind of an experience. But when it comes to luxury concepts, I think, and most of the people who can afford luxury, which is 20,000 upwards, are people like, who are on the other side of 40s.
Mostly, yeah.
They want, their expectation is that they see somebody there on the other side who recognizes them, who knows they would want to reconfirm all the arrangements they've already shared or confirmed over a phone or whatever medium, right? So I don't see that changing immediately.
Gradually it will.
Gradually, of course, things will change here and there, and especially when manpower cost, of course, will keep going up.
Yeah, definitely.
That's when your numbers will of people who are servicing you on the other side will keep coming down. Right now, I can afford a scenario wherein at Kinwani House for only 6 weeks I've got 18 people.
Okay.
So 3 to a row.
Noting it.
And the guest who is coming in at the moment, actually his expectation is that. So there's a perfect marriage at the moment.
Noting.
But this landscape, I think in times to come will keep changing, and we need to adapt. And then we need to get more and more features like, web check-ins and all those things, preferences and all already taken care. Maybe you don't even need to look at the menu because you already shared that what I want to eat for breakfast. Moment you check in, you said you will come for your breakfast at 9:30. 9:30 is already set up,
there.
So all those techs, situations is a reality,
It will
and
change.
one has to
Adapt.
imbibe that, adapt. That's
Okay.
how it works.
On a personal note, I was noticing your profile and I realized that you are also into music, producing music and composing music. So, can you elaborate on that hobby especially?
Well, of course, that still remains a passion. I still do compose songs and all, but it remains a hobby only. I also, during our younger days, we also had a small band, especially when I got into 12th and then got into college and all. And we used to go and perform in cultural fest and all those things.
Okay.
But I guess, the scenario, what it is now and what it was then, there was not much. You could not have taken it professionally. Otherwise, maybe, you would have interviewed me in a very different avatar at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
So, yes, of course, that remains a passion, that remains a hobby. But that's about it, I guess.
So because I was very much into this thing because I was also a musician before coming into the media
Very
business.
nice, yeah.
So I also have a few songs on Z, I have a few songs on T series and all.
Oh, lovely.
I have performed at a few Sunburns and VH1 Supersonic. So
Very
that was, when I looked at that you produced music, then I said, okay, fine, this is going to be a good.
I have one song which is there on YouTube, which you can
Okay.
have a look, which was one of my initial compositions.
Okay, we'll put the link inside the description. do watch it. Yeah. So we'll definitely.
Which was
yeah.
actually not recorded by me. It was
Okay.
recorded by one of the friends who was part of that evening get together.
Okay.
But yeah, from that band, I have the guitarist there.
Get it.
That's the only guy who's there.
So one last thing, say there are kids coming up who are currently into hospitality courses and all. What advice would you give them before they come into the real world, the real industry?
See, hospitality, unlike other industries, is initial years, especially first 5 to 7 years of your professional career is about putting in a lot of man hours.
Okay.
Right? And that's the nature of the industry. It is highly protocol driven as well, especially the Indian landscape, not so much the global landscape. So by default, a lot of responsibilities, especially which involves a lot of labor is given to the younger executives. My recommendation is that if you want to come into this industry, first of all, you should be driven by passion.
Definitely.
This is not just any other profession that you can take. For example, the artistic side of it.
Exactly.
If you want to be a singer or you want to be an actor, it is a lot of hard work.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? And there are, within our industries also, across the industries, there are professions like that, Hoteliering, of course, is about a lot of hard work, initial 5 to 7 years. If you're a smarter one, then probably you'll pick up some of the finest hotel graduation schools, which again belongs to some of the leading organizations that we already spoken about.
Absolutely.
Because once you pursue those courses, you are immediately absorbed as an executive or a manager. So that's a smarter route, of course, wherein you are able to eliminate that initial 14, 18 hours kind of a work environment. That is not true anymore, though. But during my times, people happily did it. Nobody was telling them. Because they were driven by passion. They just wanted to be in hotels. And I'm sure there must be people like that as well who understand hoteliering, who are very passionate about hoteliering as a business. So if you are passionate, please come. And the kind of exposure that one gets in this industry is second to none. Because you're living the life of a royal.
Absolutely.
As in when you keep growing, the exposure that you get is tremendous. And it is not only limited to the work you do, so your global marketing, global exposures when you meet and interact at audiences at the global levels, your own luxury lifestyle, the way you look at it, so few of the things that you do here actually is the stuff of royals, So when I go to a Kinwani and all, and I'm setting up things there, you're looking at Villeroy and Bosch cutlery and all, crockery, which in normal times I'll never look at using at my house. But your exposure, to brands, to luxury, to lifestyle, believe me, I mean, that exposure that you get after you put in those initial 5 to 7, 8 years of hard work is second to none. So if you're driven, and your remuneration changes very dramatically as and when you keep growing here. After, you may not get paid the best initial 5, 7, 8 years compared to other industries, but once you reach a certain level, and if you are, of course, flexible in your mind to go global as well, the kind of remunerations, perks, and all that you get in global brands, and some of the Indian brands as well, leading ones, is tremendous. And then most of these Indian brands also now have branched out globally. So when you get those kind of placements and postings, of course, you get paid according to that currency as well.
Yeah.
So yes.
That is all the best.
Driven by passion.
Driven by passion, and all the best to the new kids. All right. This was it. Thank you so much, Mr. Ji.
Thank you, Mr. Mishra,
for giving us
time, and thank you for your team.
All right, everyone. See you in the next show. Till then, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.